Hey, check out this clip from the Pre-Patch podcast.
Granblue Fantasy Relink. So, um, there's no spoilers for anybody that is looking at playing this game. Oh, by the way, Suicide Squad, $70.
It's
I
also
don't,
one that where I'm just like
or yeah,
70
I
bucks.
don't know if
Okay.
I'd spend $70. I'm just saying. But anyway, all right. Granblue Fantasy Relink. This is a game that is on console as well as on PC. And what's the best way to explain this? This is like a
So the way that I explain it usually is just like it's a JRPG with heavy like Monster Hunter vibes to it. That's how I explained it to my friends.
Isn't it action combat though?
it is all action based.
It is action combat,
Yeah.
yes. That's what I'm saying. It's a JRPG with Monster Hunter basically. It's like they took the original Granblue Fantasy JRPG and said, you and Monster Hunter need to have a baby. Go kiss and make up, right? Like
Yes. I'd also
that's
throw
essentially
in some,
what
like,
I feel like they did.
I'd also throw in some Genshin into it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you've got your
Genshin
four characters, the attacks, like
for sure. Yeah, it's an interesting
Can
game.
you
Like
capture anything in this game?
no,
is
there's
there
no
you
PAL. It's
can't.
not PAL.
No.
It's not PAL World of Pokemon.
not Power World. It's not
Dang
Power
it.
World or Pokemon now. So when I first, I don't know if you want me to take over. If you want, I think I've got more time than you do in this right now. I finished the game. Game is fucking amazing. Love the story. Was not expecting to love the story that much.
long
Like
did
when
it
I
run you?
first, I finished it at about 19 hours.
pretty decent,
So
yeah.
pretty relatively decent for the price. You know, I mean, it's a $50 game, so it's you know,
just not full
however you
price.
dictate that. Yeah, but like I still feel like I got my money's worth out of it because like once I hit that 19-hour mark, I still have shit to do, right? Like that's not the
yeah.
end of the game. That's where the Monster Hunter feel comes into it, right? Is like once you finish the game, now you have the end game to go through, right? So one thing that I like, again, I just want to point that out. I have never, or I want to point this out. I have never played a Granblue Fantasy game. This is my first my first exposure with Granblue Fantasy in general. I've never really watched I've always wanted to watch the anime. I've always wanted to play the games. I've just never done it, right? So this is my first like forte into Granblue Fantasy. That being said, I am confused as shit as to what the fuck is going on
I was
because they
gonna ask
don't
that
really
next.
do a huge, they don't really do a very good job of like letting you know what happened
you
in the
the
previous
rundown.
stuff. They give you a way of doing it. There's like a little section in the game where you can like go back and watch like short little story clips of like each character, and they have like their own little stories about what happened and how they kind of met and all that shit. So they do an okay job with it. I got the gist of it, right? But I'm still confused as shit as to what the hell is going on. Like I don't know who these people are. I don't know how they got together. I'm really, so they do an okay job, but they don't do an okay job, right? The one thing that they do a really great job with is the story and the gameplay and the bosses. Like
The bosses are
like
dope,
what
bro.
you're watching right now, this is just like the introductory
This is
boss.
the tutorial.
Yeah, this is the tutorial boss. It gets 10 times better. Like I shit you not, so much better. I'm not going to put out any spoilers, but there is literally a fight that I was like baffled that I just did that, right? I was like, what the fuck just happened, right? Like it shocked me into speechlessness while I was playing it. I was playing it while streaming for a couple of my friends, and I just sat there after I beat the boss and it was like, I need a smoke, man. I need to relax.
Man, it's good. The other thing too, I will say, and for someone that it's known, I am not a huge story fan. You know, I'm going through the story, and I have gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start skipping some stuff, because I don't want to sit here and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. You hit
It is
skip,
really good.
and you hit skip. You know what happens? It pops up with a little thing that says, "This is what's going on," and it's like 4 lines, a paragraph that goes, read this and you'll know exactly what kind of happened. It's not going to be as beautiful.
TLDR.
Yep, it gives you a fucking
Yeah.
here's a story for dummies, and it
This
just
was a game cater made for Sin because he hates
Yeah, man.
story. So
Like,
Yeah.
it's perfect. But yeah,
so the one of my those are my top things right there. Like the story's phenomenal, the boss fights are amazing. My biggest complaints, and then I'll let Sin kind of give his opinion on it. One of my biggest complaints is like coming from Monster Hunter World. I feel like the combat is extremely lackluster in comparison to like Monster Hunter World. Granted, like I'm not expecting that kind of combat from this game because it's Monster Hunter World. That's what they're known for, right? That's what they do is combat, right? This one feels extremely extremely repetitive up until the point that you get like some different companions, right?
Yeah.
Once I started getting some companions that were a little bit more complicated, like Narmaya and a couple of other ones, right? Then the game started to feel a little bit more complicated, but even then it's still nowhere in comparison to Monster Hunter World, in my opinion. I'm probably going to catch some flack for that, but in my opinion, coming from Monster Hunter World, it's less complicated.
Were the previous games, were they action combat as well?
There's a bunch, man. There's gotcha games, there's iOS games, there's story, there's turn-based games, there's like
so they've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah,
I'm sure,
Granblue is a game that actually the most current Granblue, if I'm not mistaken, outside the fighting game, which they've also done.
I was about to say they have a fighting game.
Yeah,
don't they?
Granblue Fantasy Versus. Amazing game. It's also free, by the way, really free.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of their other games are also free to play. I forgot what I was gonna say, but wow, that just like completely skipped my mind. Anyway, they covered a lot of bases, turn-based.
So that was my biggest complaint coming into it from like a Monster Hunter World or a Monster Hunter-esque.
That's what I was gonna say,
right?
Yeah. Okay, so there are like. I would say yes, but also like I learned really quickly. I picked up the guy with the scythe, the dark.
I can't remember his name. I
starts with a G or whatever else. But anyway, I picked him up, and actually, like if you go into their combo, like there's actually quite a bit of combos that you can do, and then.
I'm not saying that it's like to a point where I'm like this game is trash because of the combat, right? Because it's not. The combat is actually relatively like they did an extremely good job with it. And coming from the franchise itself, and the guy that you're talking about is Vasaraga, I think that's his name.
That's it. Yeah,
Vasaraga, I think, or Vaser. I don't know how to pronounce. I'm probably butchering that name. But yeah, coming from like the complications and like I feel Monster Hunter World does it better, but again, it's because it's Monster Hunter World. Like that's what they do, right? Like this game, I think this is probably their first forte, or maybe like their second or third. It just feels some of the characters are extremely complicated, some of the characters are not, and I think that's a good thing, right? Like that's like you can go from like the base level characters that you get at the start that aren't very complicated, like the main character that you get, his combos are literally left click, right click. You know, it's like that's his combos. He doesn't have that much, right? But once you start adding in like the abilities that you get, like the magics that you get and everything like that, and start learning about the abilities, I'm sure that's a bit more complicated, because like Narmaya is extremely complicated in some instances if you look at it, but in other instances, like she still has that same repetitiveness where it's like you're literally just clicking left click, and then spamming left click until you hit a certain point, and then hitting right click to swap her stance, right? Yeah. I mean, that's one of the good things about Narmaya is that like you can swap stances, and both of her stances do different things. So I'm sure that's the case with a lot of other characters. But
yeah, I mean, I think there's certain things in Monster Hunter, like obviously, you know, traps. There's a lot more weapons. There's what, but anyway, the game, it really does, like the pinnacle of what it does well is, again, like the boss fights, like leading up to those boss fights and those encounters, and what
I wish I could talk about the boss fight that I'm talking about, but I can't, because it's like a pivotal moment in the story, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But like you'll know the moment that I'm talking about, because it's like I had to step back and be like, I can't believe that that's an experience that I just had in a game.
Yeah. I mean, and also they do a really good job too, because most JRPGs, there's a lot of dialogue that takes a long time to get into shit. This one, there's dialogue. It's still a JRPG, but it's nowhere near what you're used to, and it just kind of throws you in, and you start action, and you can get into the action pretty quickly. Like once you get to the main city hub,
Very
like
quickly.
you could just be like, cool, like go do a multiplayer stuff, go do the
I do
main
feel like they did
storyline.
a good job, a really good job with the multiplayer lobbies as well. Like I know a lot of people are complaining about it because they're saying like there's no way to like filter out like people that are that are not the same skill level as you. But
Mhm.
like in other instances where I'm looking at it from my experience with Monster Hunter, right? Like there was no way to kind of like separate that to begin with in Monster Hunter World either. Like
Right.
you just need to accept the fact that you're gonna have lower skill characters on your team in multiplayer. That's one of the good things about Monster Hunter World in some instances, and granted, other instances there were the toxic members of that community. But like for the predominant part and for the most part in the Monster Hunter community, a lot of people are like, "You're new to the game, cool. We're going to show you how to play the game. Like I'm going to carry you through this really quickly." But like it seems like there's a lot of people that are kind of complaining about the fact that like some people don't know what they're doing when it comes to multiplayer, and they're making it harder on people. That's just a
I
multiplayer
mean, that's
game.
multiplayer
Like,
games. Like, what are you gonna do, man? Like,
that's
is
just a
what it is.
multiplayer game. So I mean,
Scruffy.
it would it be nice if there was skill based like matchmaking? Yes.
Yeah.
Would it work in this kind of game? No.
I do
don't think
wish
so.
I do wish and I was gonna say, Scruffy, one of the things it does check off, there are secrets. There are like a lot of like
There
nooks and
are a
crannies you
lot
can
of
go
secrets.
and
Yeah.
like
Dig
look
that. Nice.
look for stuff in chests. I do wish, and it is one downfall, and I get it, but at the same time I don't. Like I wish this character is the captain, or you name him what you want as your own. So you have to have him in your party. Like I get
Well,
it, he's the main.
He's the MC.
So while you're doing the storyline, you have to have
Yes,
him
that's what I'm
in
talking
your
about.
party.
Yes.
Right.
Once you complete the storyline and you're just doing your normal like after the storyline, you can get rid of him out of your have who to. So that is a nice thing, and I understand why they do that because he is a pivotal.
Yeah,
he's the main member
character,
of the party.
right? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
so it makes
still
sense.
It's like I don't
I
want
understand
the story.
what
I don't want this main character.
I understand what you're saying though in the fact that like I didn't like the character, I didn't like his abilities, I didn't like how he fought. So it really felt like a wasted space for me because I was never going to really upgrade him to play him. So there was no real reason for me to do that. But then again, I had to do that because if I didn't upgrade him, he was going to get smashed when it came to like later game stuff. So
you give all these comparisons to these games, but what I'm really getting is Kingdom Hearts vibes.
yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people saying Kingdom Hearts.
I don't know.
Kingdom Hearts 3 specifically.
I mean, maybe
the visuals remind me of it quite a bit.
Visuals, some of the combat. It's not lock
Some of the
on,
combat,
but
yeah.
But
It does have lock
Look,
on.
it
does
does
have
have
is
a
there
lock
is there
on.
lock? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
even more so. I that's the vibes
I can
I've
see
been
it.
getting.
I can see it for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't like Kingdom Hearts games, so I don't compare it to that. But I don't know. It's the game, and this is also again another one that is, it feels very live servicey, in the sense of like, they have more content that's coming out for it. We're supposed to be releasing more characters, which I hope they do. Like I hope they keep up with it, man, because the game is like a game is a blast to fucking play. There's a leveling up system. There is more weapons that you're, unlocking and upgrading for your character. There's like 400 characters, I think, in their gacha version. Fucking bring them over, man.
Dude, that would be insane, dude.
like
400 characters
yeah,
to
bring 'em.
learn.
Bring 'em.
I'm struggling to learn the 4 that I have right now.
Yeah, bring them. I love it.
That would be crazy. I would love it. That would be amazing. It would be.
The characters feel good. This game feels amazing. For $60, this game is fucking well worth it. Is it 60 or 50? I think it's, there's a 70.
I think it's 50.
It's one of the price, 50,
We
60,
have
70, one of them.
3 different prices here.
Somebody look it up.
Hold on. I'm looking it up.
It's 60 on Steam.
60,
that
60?
is.
Okay. Well worth the $60 price
Definitely
tag.
worth the $60
The
price.
game-
Because again, like you said, you get like I said, you get 19 hours at the very minimum. Like that was me rushing through the content, obviously, and not doing any side content. Like finding all the hidden shit in each zone and everything like that. But you get 19 plus hours worth of content, and then on top of that, you get in-game content, which you could probably grind out well over a couple,
So
like 100 hours.
Probably
on this.
get like 30 in the 30-hour range of content, plus it being a live service game.
It depends on how hard
it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, and,
like
and then
you could do that with Monster Hunter World, but there's people
Right.
out there that have thousands of hours in Monster Hunter World. Like it's really down to how deep into like the end game grind you want to go,
Right.
because you could technically go extremely deep into like gearing out all of your your team with like the best upgrades on their
God, I
abilities
forgot about
or
these, yeah.
whatever,
The fucking
the best weapons, the best skills, everything like that. So
I'm watching this too again. Like it's so they just do a fucking good job, man. Like it's just so well
do,
done. The
yeah.
link system is great. The fucking like the graphics are fucking phenomenal. Like,
I'll say as well, like coming from my Final Fantasy 14 days as well, like my Final Fantasy 14 experience, each of the boss fights feels like a Final Fantasy 14
Yeah,
like
man.
raid fight.
it just it looks, and it also too, it just
So they
it's
did a
such a
really good job
beautiful
with it.
game. I can't gush about this game enough, man. Like I was super stoked about it when I heard it was coming co-op. Like I told Enigma, I was like, dude, we got to play the game. We only played it one time together, but that's mainly my fault because I haven't had time. But like, God, fuck, the game is just, it's so fucking good. Like it's just, and the animation, this animation right here, we'll leave on this. Like this is the link animation,
The
right? So
breakers, the
yeah,
link breakers,
the
yeah.
links. So like everybody links their attacks, kind of like their super. They have to get their gauge up, and then you link it, and then after that, like you'll get like, which you're about to see, a full like what's called a full link
Full
or full
link,
burst.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
okay.
it's all
after
four
you do
players.
the full link, do you do the relink after that? Like, do you is that when you do the relink?
No. Full
No,
burst.
Oh.
That's what it is. Full
That's it.
burst.
Yeah, it's just fucking amazing, man. Go, like, I can't go play this game. Like, just if you like action combat, if you like Monster Hunter, if you like Genshin, if you like Kingdom Hearts, go fucking play the game. The game is fucking amazing. It's worth everything.
It's great,
It's
and
good.
I'm looking forward to see what else they bring out. Like we talked about it with Suicide Squad, right? As long as they continuously bring out like more boss fights, more areas, more characters, like this game could be huge
Yeah,
for them. Like
absolutely.
obviously their game is already huge. Granblue Fantasy is huge in general, but like this specific game on Steam, I think they had like a total of like 170 or something like that, 170,000 people playing it the other day. And like that's huge for Granblue Fantasy, from what I understand. Like most of their games never come close to that kind of
Their most successful game is their gacha game.
Yeah.
Which is not a shocker, and it's their gacha.
I should say on Steam, most of their Granblue Fantasy games on Steam never come close to those numbers.
Also,
don't know
that dude
about the
right there
rest
is
of
a
it.
fucking badass, bro. Eugene and
Which one?
Rackham.
Eugen?
Bro,
It's not Eugene. It's Eugen.
Eugene and Rectum are fucking badass, bro. They are fucking.
But yeah, no,
so
what
good.
100%. If you got the money for it and you're able to pick it up, phenomenal game.
Yeah, it's great.
Can't recommend it enough. This I think this is the first time that me and Sin have like seen
Agreed.
eye to eye this much on a game in a long time.
There's not really much bad about it, man. Like it's just a good fucking. Except I will bitch about it not being ultra wide. There is no ultra wide support. That's fucking stupid. But
there's a mod for it, from what I understand. There's a mod out there for it.
I need to go find it because it's annoying. But that's a me problem. So first world problems.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the patch notes. And if you want to see more from the Pre-Patch Podcast, don't forget to check us out live every Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, or at anchor.fm/prepatch podcast, or wherever podcasts are listened to. Hope to see you there. Much love.